One of the ones who the finger's pointing at you. You're always one of the targets that you need to lock them up and throw away the key, and you're not doing that. I want to hear your response to that.
Well, first of all, good morning, everyone. My title is actually a special assistant to the DA.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I just wanted to make that.
And I'm sorry to hit you with an uppercut right out of the gate, but
Well, you have people who are not responsible for crimes, and they're upset, and they point the finger at other, trying to find who to point the finger at when there's the people that are committing the crimes. They don't care about anything. I don't. We're working very hard in all aspects. We led the state in jury trials last year, doubling East Baton Rouge Parish and Orleans Parish, which are larger parishes. We had 29 jury trials last year. We are, it's just a easy thing to say that's disproven by actual facts.
when we talk about juveniles, we know what happened over the weekend. A lot of these were young people. How do you answer that? You can't lock up all these young people. A, we don't have space. B, the laws don't allow it, right?
Right. The juvenile system is for, quote, rehabilitation. And, that does not jive with public safety. And, we're fighting a battle every legislative session. We have sponsored bills to toughen up juvenile law and juvenile gun laws. And we get resistance from the moment I step in the hallway. I see them coming. The children advocacy groups, the groups from New Orleans, they're totally against that. Any sort of thing, they're saying you're just trying to lock up more kids. And so that's the resistance you have. And also the gun rights people of the rural parishes, they don't want to hear anything about restricting guns.
The curfew ordinance, is it enforced at all right now?
We've asked, law enforcement, that's a Shreveport City ordinance, to enforce it. I just think they have such manpower, a lack of manpower issues, that they're not enforcing it as you may wish them to. But that's not to denigrate the hardworking officers. They're out there doing the best they can. They're just stretched, overly thin to respond to a serious call, much less a curfew call.
Mr. Willard, let's back up just a couple of seconds. You had said, at least maybe I inferred from what you said, that one of the reasons that the DA, that Judge Stewart might have a little trouble getting guns off the streets, or law enforcement in the area might have trouble getting guns off the streets, is because of backers of the Second Amendment. Walk me through that one again and explain how the illegal guns that are used in many, many instances, violent crime, gang crime, has anything to do with Second Amendment rights.
Well, we tried to, we have a monthly juvenile crime meeting with the sheriff and SPD and all the task makers. And we work to try to find some legislation to tighten up juvenile law regarding guns. Possession of a firearm by a juvenile, the law requires it to be on the juvenile's person at the time. In other words, it has to be in his hands or in his pocket, basically. So if a warrant is issued, of course, no juvenile, when the police come in, the juvenile's not going to be carrying a gun. It might be under his bed or in a closet, or if he's in a car, it'd be under a seat. That's not legally a crime. And so we tried to tighten up that law and to make it where it could be constructive possession as well for a juvenile. And it never even got off the floor into the committee. It got so much resistance. And we tried to make some legislation to make, as did Beryl Peacock, to make the juvenile version of a felon, if they are convicted of a crime involving that would be a felony in adult court, to make that illegal for that juvenile to ever possess a gun again, and that never got off the floor. You know, you just have the legislators that tried to bring the bill, when they explained to me what happened, they said we got great resistance from the social justice people and the rural legislators that were concerned about any infringements on gun rights.
Mr. Wilbert, if Judge Stewart were here and I asked him, if I asked DA Stewart, what are your frustrations with the system the way it is now, what would he say? You're around him, you're in the office. What are his and the offices as a whole frustrations with the justice system as you guys are trying to implement it?
Well, there's well-meaning people in the juvenile system, even those children's advocate people. You know, they're trying to help people, but we're in a state. There's 64 parishes, and probably us, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, probably Lake Charles, Monroe. We're the only ones. We're the ones mainly dealing with juvenile, urban kind of juvenile issues that are around the whole country. The rest of the parishes aren't dealing with that. So we have, it's hard to get them interested into tightening gun laws when, their parishes don't have the same type of problems that we have. So that's one thing. Also, we are in Shreveport. We're a long way from New Orleans and Baton Rouge. We can yell and scream up here, and, they seem to have a little more influence on the change or the way that laws are going. Again, therefore, rehabilitation, we're yelling about public safety. One thing, yes, what we would change, the Office of Juvenile Justice had big changes when in the criminal, the Justice Act, when the governor came into office, that passed, and they tried to change the lock 'em up type of reputation that our state had. But what they did, they shut down they reduced drastically the number of what they call secure beds. Those are like prison-like beds for juveniles, and that needs to be re-examined now. It's been 5 to 6 years now. It's time for the legislature needs to re-examine, did those reforms work? Because what's happened is they're turning around the kids that are public safety threats. They're getting released way too soon because of lack of space.
Mr. Wilbert, pardon me. You're talking a lot. You must have said the word juvenile 100 times, and I'm not poking you here. But what I'm taking away from what you're saying is that in your mind, and maybe DA Stewart, that most of the gun violence in Shreveport, not only this past weekend, but even before that, is juvenile crime related?
Yes. It's there. We have juvenile gangs here, and this has popped up in the last 2.5 to 3 years. And it's not like for those of us that are old enough to remember, it's not like the Bottom Boys in the 1980s, of syndicates of California gangs. It's little apartment gangs, and the Bossier Nike Boys and the Shreveport Nike Boys, and these apartment little gangs. Sometimes the gang leaders are 19 years old. It's just little, that's festering in some communities. The kids, 14, 15, they're getting younger and younger, and they're carrying and obtaining guns. And they're, not BB guns. They're carrying ARs and AKs and all kinds of stuff.
Mr. Pryor, one last thing. We're running up against the clock here.
Yes.
Folks are calling this a crisis and calling on everybody to do as much as they can. Can the DA's office do better?
Yes, we can all do better. But our ADAs are working hard. The juvenile judges work hard. the downtown judges and ADAs work hard, where everybody is working night and day. We're all in this community. We're all super concerned about this community, and we're super concerned about public safety and quality of life.
Wil Pryor, District Attorney's Office, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you all.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL Sports Ahead. Here's Ruben.